What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the only live show that involves tuning that I know of, which makes us number one as usual. What is going on? Uh, yeah, you are right, Ryan. He will swing by later and throw that thumbs down for us. He's persistent, if anything. 6L63, I am feeling better. Physically healthy, feeling better. But we're going to get a couple more people in here. We're up to 14 here. As soon as, oh, okay, now we're up to 25. I've got a PSA for everybody. I want everybody to pay close attention. Public service announcement. This is going to save everybody in the long run. Race cars. Don't do them. Don't buy a race car. Don't build a race car. Don't buy parts for a race car. Don't schedule races in advance. Just save yourself all the heartache, all the frustrations, all the BS, and just stay away from race cars altogether. Listen, it has been quite the week. Killing me, killing me, killing me. So, patrons, pay attention. I'm going to be giving away a super, super sweet CSR build aluminum flex plate because I bought the wrong one like an idiot. Yeah, the part numbers were literally two off from each other. It was like 200 AL versus 200 ALS. Didn't see the LS on it. And of course, it's a 6-bolt instead of an 8-bolt, so it won't work on the truck. So I will be passing it on to somebody in the Patreon. $300 piece of kit. It is beautiful. But I did finally get in the one for the Nova. Yeah, it was about Nova raffle time, trust me. Brandon, the XLR is gone. We got rid of the XLR. So today the flex plate came in. I spent about 3 hours getting the transmission back in with all the transmission shield and flex plate shield, which was a complete and total bear, only to find out that just the FTI shields, the steel ones that I have, don't fit. Just so much interference with the trans tunnel. Back to square one on that ordeal. It just frustrating. Frustrating. Yes, Tyler, UPS made it today. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Alfredo, I do not know, but somebody in here will be able to tell you whether or not you can go 40 over on an LY6. Sounds a little bit big. What up, Lone Wolf? What up, Brandon? Tyler? WS6, thanks for becoming a member. Hey, Jim White. Ted, good to see you. Ryan, Super Slow. Danny, Chris, Mom. Hi, Mom. What up, our Blake? Rock roll. Did I miss anybody? Oh, hey, Hillary. Good to see you. Les, Surfer Jag. Theo, aka the Ozman, and Jonathan Blunt, JC Hare. What's going on? So what did we get done? Well, the Nova is 99% back on the road. I've got to basically figure out the trans shield stuff, and I had a CSR carbon shield on the way, but they're still telling me it's going to be 3 weeks out. So I went ahead and got a blanket and a CSR flex plate shield. Those will be here tomorrow. Be done with that transmission stuff. I got the automatic shift set up. I got the launch control set up. So we're just literally everything is about done on the Nova except for tuning it and driving it. You know, I got to build a new exhaust for it. Did get the V bands on there. I got you new V8. Elliot, you're correct. Stay stock as long as you can. Don't say that. Stay in this crate as long as you can. Hey, Chris. So, was hoping to have the car drivable tomorrow, but it might be a little bit of a stretch. We'll see. Also running a bigger gauge wire up to the starter. Running a 2-watt up to the starter. And I'm missing the lugs. I think those are supposed to be in tomorrow. Just because that motor's hard to turn over. So, let's talk about something besides race cars. What's everybody doing? Oh, he'll get here, Les. He will show up and do the thumbs down. It will have the thumbs down before the night's over, I promise you. Did you decide you're not going to do the methanol injection or what, Brad? Yeah, Danny. Not out of the blue to be throwing clothes. Going to be on 712s for another week or so. Put up a pic on Patreon when you need them if you get a chance. If you need any info on install, shoot me a message. I worked in the sign industry for a couple years, so I should be able to. Blake wanted to see my long hair. Good to hear it, Super Slow. That's what new jobs are supposed to be doing. 10 copper cable lugs. Good to know. I don't know what I've got coming. Gen 3 LQ4 with long tube headers, and the proportional idle is disabled. Should I enable it and adjust proportional idle airflow and integral delay? I don't know. That's a good question. How's it idle? Working. Lone Wolf got my G8 tuned. Awesome. Waiting on my bumper from someone to show up for the Suburban move. I don't know if that's a brand, Les. Remember when you were talking about the Mini Deer? Yeah, hit one a week ago. Sorry to hear that, man. Oh, you're welding together your own bumper. That's awesome. I think I want to go Tesla. No funds for it, though. Let me know how that works, Rock Roll. If it idles good, don't mess with it, man. Ain't no reason to mess. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just bought another cam, 218, 227, 524 with 1.8 roller rockers. Getting aggressive on the roller rockers. Pack 12, 19 springs. Called Pack Springs and was told to ship with this setup. It's worth it. Grace dealers will blah, blah, blah. Be able to more home, super slow, much more faster. There you go. That's all that matters. Probably you, Brad. I would guess that you have the most logs and tunes with me. I think I have an external hard drive just for all your stuff. AFR goes more and more lean the higher IAT gets. Tyler, not necessarily. I mean, your higher IATs mean that your air density is not as thick, but your IAT adjustments might be causing it to go too lean. Should go a little bit leaner on warmer air, but not significantly. Do I do any tuning on 6th Gen Camaro? Sometimes I wish I didn't, Jesse. All the trans tuning questions, maybe a video on Blue Cat. Yeah, Jim, I could probably do that. It's been a while. I mean, since I don't have any tunable transmissions anymore, I've gotten rid of all my tunable transmissions. Thanks, Alberto. Sent you a log file. I was having an issue with the Cam G8. Took out that 80, leaned out, won't hold power nor idle. Okay, Alberto, I'll check my emails. CBSS ran 793, the 8th mile. Getting it. See, 120 is not that hot, Tyler. What up, Andy? What's going on, brother? Exactly. Get rid of the tunable transmission. Problem solved. And parts are a lot cheaper. And I don't know if you guys have ever installed a 6L80 by yourself, but installing a Power Glide or a Turbo 400 by yourself is about 100 times easier. Sure, let's go for it. How do I get my motor final up and idle when I have to pedal it at all? Having to pedal at all seems to always have to hold it a bit to get the revs up for a few seconds and slowly bring it down. Probably a little bit lean, Rich. Probably a little bit lean. Look at your startup tables, cranking tables. How am I liking the Holly setup? Should have mine up and running the next couple weeks. Listen, Ian, I'm going to do a video on this, go a little bit more in depth about it. For the money, I like the Terminator with a lot of catches that go along with that. I have a sneaking suspicion I might be wishing that I had a Dominator and HP on this before it's all said and done. Probably will swap over since the harness should swap straight over. And there's just a couple small things that are, for somebody like me doing kind of the stuff that I'm doing, the Terminator is a little bit limiting. For somebody looking to do an EFI setup though, like direct port coil and air plug EFI setup, it's hard to beat the Terminator. Jesse, don't get freaked out about torque tuning and don't even really worry about torque tuning. Focus on airflow tuning because torque tuning will fall in line most of the time after you do your airflow tuning. Because what happens is if as you add mods and things like that and your airflow tuning gets knocked out of whack, that in turn, because all of your torque is calculated from airflow, that in turn skews off your torque. And so it makes it feel like your torque is off, but it's actually your airflow that's wrong. Yeah, I've wrestled that 6L80E in and out on the Silverado a couple times, and I was not sad to see it go. Yeah, if you're having to hold the pedal at all, Rich, as long as you're not passing flood clear, you don't have enough fuel. The I/O is one of my complaints about it, and it's not even so much the limitations because there's not that much I/O, it's just that the I/O is not that flexible in my opinion. And it could just be because I come from the automation world and I expect more out of my I/O, but there's, I would like to see like 2 analog outs on there, 1 to 5 analog outs, 0 to 5 volt analog outs. Digital analog converters nowadays are not that expensive, hard to incorporate onto a board. There's really no reason why they didn't put a couple of those in there. What's stronger and cheaper than a 4L80? Turbo 400. Overdrive is for suckers. You don't need to do 70 on the highway. Enjoy doing 55. Cruise around, take in the sights, and if you need to do 70, you just put that right foot down. New to tuning is watch your video on traction controllers. Wonder if it's still a bad idea to set torque control at 0 on manual. No, it's not a bad idea. You just be prepared. Be prepared. Ozman, your pedal sensor only reads 78% because you are looking at the SAE pedal. There should be another one that is a non-SAE parameter in there that will read 0 to 100%. If you powered a supercharger with a Tesla electric motor, would it make enough power to offset the weight? That's interesting, Eric C. Depends on how many RPMs that thing would do. You might have to gear it. Exactly, Andrew. Hashtag enjoy the ride. P0108, pending code with vehicle off, key on, engines out of the car. Want to sort out issues before it's in the car. All wiring is good, sensors good, flash to 1 bar OS. Should I worry about it? No, don't worry about it. I mean, do you have all the sensors hooked up even though the engine's out, Jonathan? 55 to 7,500 RPM, running those 7.2 rear gears. Yeah, Rich, I would try bumping up the cranking VE table, see if that helps. Awesome to hear that, Danny. Superchargers usually aren't that bad. Turbochargers aren't that bad. Roots superchargers can be a little bit tougher because you are getting quite a bit more air at idle, even with the bypass open. But centrifugal and turbos, not a big ordeal. Rule of thumb, though, is just keep on adding fuel till it fires off or you smell fuel and then start taking fuel out. Heard it's bad to daily a trans brake setup trans. Is this true? No. The problem is super slow is that on those things you're not going to have lockup, and you need to be aware of your temperatures. So cruise around on the highway with something like a Power Glide or a Turbo 400 without lockup, is generating a lot of heat. So as long as you got decent transcooler, should be fine. So the Nova's got a transcooler mounted in front of the radiator. The Silverado's got a transcooler mounted underneath the bed with 2 fans on it. That's the lead. I need to do a video on the Terminator with the flex fuel stuff. It's actually not that bad whenever you get into it. I got a couple tips and tricks. The Holley video that's actually out on doing that, I do not like their approach to it. My approach is easier, makes more sense, and you don't have to adjust anything, and you can tune like normal. Code doesn't come back when I use a vacuum gauge applied to the sensor. Yeah, Jonathan, I wouldn't worry about it until you get fired up then. Do you have an idle tune video for an LS with a stock cam? I looked, but I don't see one. Modification Nation, I don't know that I do, but it's all going to be the same. Stock cam, aftermarket cam, it's all just kind of getting the airflow, the base airflow dialed in. Hey, Joe, what's going on, brother? Barometric sensor reading its max value. Yep, that would be it then. Pumps don't last at full line with trans brake for daily use. Just recently found your channel. Thank you, Marin, for showing up. I have not looked at how Sloppy does it. He may do it the way that I do it, which is basically applying a percentage modifier to your commanded fuel. Can't get the throttle plates to open a little more. On a third? No, what are you on? Any tips on knowing when to use right entire versus right calibration? Yeah, Gutless, good question. Right entire is any time that you're doing any kind of operating system patching. So basically anything underneath the OS tag, you're going to do a right entire. 99% of the time you're going to be fine with just a right calibration. If for some reason after you do it right, something acts a little bit weird, it's always a good practice to go back and do a right entire just to make sure. Yeah, sorry, Ozman. I do talk fast. That I know people comment on that all the time. That's just how I am. But the cool thing about it is it's a video that you can actually rewind and go back and watch again. So the information is there in perpetuity. Hummer H203. You need to explain your situation a little bit more, Modification Nation, as far as what you're trying to accomplish. You're saying that the throttle body's not opening up enough. Is it stalling? That's still an base airflow adjustment. Sure thing, Mike Hinson. Trust me, if I could automate myself, I would. Mr. Blake, I appreciate it, brother. Have a nitrous purge. It's been a while since we had any nitrous purges. Purge should pop up over here. Is there a correct position to mount the Gen 4 LS throttle body? Nope, doesn't matter. I don't think there's any benefit one way or the other. Solar throttle body is an odd one. There is no Magnuson adapter and there's no performance injector plate. Won't work. Apparently they're LT5 throttle bodies, not LT4. I thought it was. I thought they had an LT4 one, Danny. They've got to have an LT4 because an LT5 one wouldn't fit on an L83, would it? Ooh, I can't wait to see what Joe does. About to say, a trans shop next to me swaps GM transmissions every day and pays somebody to come reprogram the trans. Pull the file out of the trans they just swapped into one, and it looks sort of like it's just in an on-purpose limp mode. Can I just launch in a matching trans file with HP tuners? Yep. In fact, probably would be easiest, Joe, is just to download the trans file out of that TCM and then use the compare option for a comparable vehicle. Just pay attention to the final drive and tire size stuff, because that's going to adjust the speeds for shift. Yeah, there you go. Now you're talking, Danny. Ah, Jonathan, thank you, brother. You can have a nitrous purge too. I haven't talked to the guys over at Solar in a while, but as said, I want to say that the one that I got from them was an LT4. Hell, I think I gave that away to somebody, didn't I? Oh, there's your Cadillac. We need to do a new nitrous purge video, since Cadillac's not here anymore. Have an 03 Sonoma with the 2.2. Have future plans to do a small turbo. Do you think it's worth to get HP tuners to get practice with it before that? Yes, definitely. Do you think there's any power to gain at stock? On the 2.2, probably not a lot. 10, 15 horsepower, though. You can probably pick up 15 horsepower. Does not stall, but it surges. I need to bump up the idle RPM to allow HP alternator to charge enough to run my trans engine, cool fans, electric fans. I upgraded too. Yeah, as I said, it's going to be a base idle airflow issue that's probably set too low. You're going to need to bump that airflow up, so it's actually opening up some to allow some more air in. That's the least. Send it on over. I would be interested to take a look at it. I set mine up to work like a standard flex fuel sensor that as you add ethanol, it enriches your commanded AFR. So the base system of the Terminator X still uses a commanded AFR to try and reach its goals through closed loop. Correct. LT4 is the same as the LT1. Turbo swap time, Andy. See you, Les. Have a good one, brother. Thanks, Modification Nation. I try. I've been slacking, but at least I've been honest about slacking. I am very excited to just start doing fun stuff with the Mustang and not do race car stuff. No more race car stuff. Where's the timing multiplier? It has numbers like 1.5. I haven't messed with it, but wondering WTF that is that. Where I lost you. Where are we talking about, Theo? The Ozman, I should say. No more of yet. Trust me, after a day like today, LT4 stuff would be preferable. So higher altitudes require less fueling. What would high altitude do to the timing table? Say 5280. Should have a offset table in there to pull a degree or two because of it. So he does it backwards. Makes sense. Same approach then, just as I said. I left mine as base on gasoline instead of switching it over to ethanol and then added up to 30% for 85. Andy, you're killing me. Proper way to check OBD monitors. What are you trying to accomplish? I mean, you got drive cycle to do it proper. Do a full drive cycle and clear them all. Don't clear, then you need to track down what exactly is not clearing, going ready, I should say, not clear, but ready. And then figure out what parts in that system need to be active and happy. Turbo LS on a 2R PE commanded, 12.2 BE commanded, 11.1 AFR, stupid rich, 8.2. Whew. 10's still going to be pretty darn rich, JC. So, question to add on the surging issues that he's having. What about AC on E fans? And you can feel the power loss when the fans pull amps, alt issue or battery issue. Could still be a tune issue, super slow. You have an AC offset in there that's supposed to adjust the load calculations for whenever AC is on to cause it to kick up your RPMs a little bit and catch it. What's the next thing you're doing to the Shelby? Ultimatum. The next thing I'm doing to the Shelby is a video on this sweet new Nitrous Express signal synchronizer. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out. I'll be giving one away for free in a future episode live show here. Pretty cool little device. I don't know how much it is, maybe 150 bucks. Basically, it plugs into the OBD2 port, and it allows you to grab PIDs from the ECU and configure them to an output. Only works for Chevy and Ford right now because of Dodge's stupid security gateway stuff. Yeah, drive then check. I mean, once they clear, they should stay clear until you reflash or something. Yeah, Joe, I agree with you. Yeah, ICT car guy, less fuel at altitude than sea level, but your ECU should be correcting for all that, especially if you're running mass airflow because it's calculating mass. So altitude skews your mass. As Jonathan says, yeah, there is a drive cycle for about every manufacturer out there that'll tell you exactly how to go through what you need to do, and it's silly. Like, drive to 30, slow down. Drive to 35, slow down. Do a medium throttle pull up to 50, slow down. It's, you know. Right, yeah. It literally reads parameters just like the scanner on HP Tuners does, and then it takes those parameters and you can assign those to specific outputs such as analog outs, digital outs, things like that, for hooking up to nitrous injection, methanol injection, basically anything that you want without having to tap into sensors and stuff. Have you done any videos on Gen 3 to add E85 sensor and tune? I don't think that I have. JC. There's so much information out there on the forums, though. It's pretty straightforward. As long as, you know, don't have to get the segment swap. You get into segment swaps, it gets a little bit hinky trying to find the correct segment to swap over to the ECU and stuff like that. But also need to have 20 quarter and 3/4 tank fuel for evaporatiness to run as well. Little birdie told me that you can just turn all the DTCs off and every readiness check will automatically clear. But you didn't hear that here. I do not condone such things. Yeah, wideband failing, as Joe said, usually experience. Expected a wideband was reading goofy today, turned off closed loop and gained 20 horsepower. If you have narrow bands that are somewhat accurate, you can go back into closed loop on a factory ECM and see if the narrow bands pull you back to stoich. I'm going to be honest with you, these 4.9 sensors are not the most resilient things out there. So, it doesn't hurt to have an extra one sitting around whenever you're going through tuning. Do you ever adjust the map characteristics in HP tuners besides for changing between? Yeah, I mean, you can, Jonathan. Generally, I don't. 3 kPa is not enough to really worry about. Correct, Joe. They suck ass. Should do a crank relearn after a cam swap. Yep. Yes, you should. I've got wide bands all over the garage. The problem is I don't know which ones are good and which ones are bad anymore. Brady, you made it just in time. You got 2 minutes left. Made it just in time. My hands are so beat up. I got cuts on my fingertips. I got busted knuckles. Tell you what. And he hits on throttle hang. Give it a gas. RPM stay up for 7 seconds before coming back down to idle. Gen 3, Gen 4, Mike. It's got to be probably Gen 3 or Gen 4. Could be throttle cracker, throttle follower. Try disabling them, see if it helps. Specifically, probably the cracker. I would try disabling the cracker first, see if that helps. No raffle this week. Jonathan, I mean, it's advisable to do a crank relearn after a cam swap. What happens if you don't do the crank relearn? Probably nothing. Do I have an injector machine? No. Do you? Probably. Just in time. I had a friend's name who was Cash Dill. 2015 L83. Your throttle is hanging on an L83. You got airflow table issues, which in turn is causing torque issues. Just finished a windshield replacement. We have a new report, just in case, just in case. Listen, everybody, it's 8:30. I'm going to go downstairs, finish my beer, go to bed, and tomorrow, after work, I want to get this Nova driving again. Going to finish the exhaust on it. That's basically it. Mercy, Harry Wayne graduated over the weekend. Correct. Had stuff, wouldn't run right till you did a crank relearn. It's not hard. Basically, you just go into the scanner, hit crank relearn, it tells you to hold the gas down for so many seconds. What do you do for work if you don't mind me asking? I used to do automation. Now I'm a supervisor of other people who do automation. Yes, that is the big thing. The crank relearn is part of the misfire calculation, so rock and roll. Hey, listen, everybody, thanks for stopping by for another live show for another Thursday. And for everybody that showed up for the impromptu that we had last weekend, had a fun time doing that. Listen, you guys know the drill. Thanks for stopping by the garage. Remember, ABT, always be tuning.